Okay, so here's my little Hadoop example. We're going to try a standalone and Hadoop as a single cluster or single node cluster. So standalone, first of all I extracted Hadoop 1.1.1 into a folder on my machine here, and then I went into this conf folder and I edited a file Hadoop env. I edited that file and I added my Java home here. I'm on a Mac, so my Java home. So that's what I did there. After I did that, for a test, I downloaded this thing called dictionary.txt, and that's like a 28 meg whatever dictionary.txt file, and it just contains its English dictionary with the first couple of letters, so just to use some data. Okay, so after I did that, I can run Hadoop now in standalone mode after I updated that, and that's running a command like this. So we're going to run hadoop.jar Hadoop examples, that's the code, we'll get to that later. Grep in the data folder where the dictionary lies, write it to the output folder and look for something that says secure A to Z and continue looking, and that is a regular expression, of course. So if I run that and Hadoop standalone, what we're going to get is it's going to run for a little bit. We can see it all was written. So if I cat the output, well, if we ls output, we'll see it creates some files there. And if I look at the output file, we'll see that it found 227 instances of a word secure, 170 of security, so it goes down, securest one instance of it. So there we are. That's Hadoop running in standalone mode. Now running Hadoop in server mode. So in server mode, you have to create this file, and I've already created it, and this is for the older version. I see it's deprecated now, but there's a file here called Hadoop site.xml. So I've created it already. Hadoop site.xml file. If we create this file, and I know this is deprecated at the moment, I'll still learn the new way, but basically you create this file and you say localhost for the file system 9000, and the job tracker is on port 9001. So once you created that file, you can now do some crazy stuff. Hadoop will now no longer run in standalone mode. It will run in a single node cluster with that configuration file over there. So the next step we'll do, we must make sure that first of all you can SSH to your localhost without a prompt. You can see I can do it on this machine. You need to set that up. If you can't, you need to do two little things here. So you need these two commands. You need to run keygen and create an ID file. I just created the file, and you need to write this to your auth keys. So the next step to run and distribute it now is to actually format a file system. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to run Hadoop node name format. We're going to see it runs a little bit and comes back, and we can basically see that 64 VM, the file system it created. This is the owner. There's a whole lot of configuration here which we'll work on, but in any case the file system is now created. So then I'm going to actually start Hadoop in server mode. So I'm going to run the start all command, and we'll see that Hadoop actually starts up. So it runs a little, and there it is. So from this point onwards, we can actually go hit Hadoop on the on its port. So I'm gonna put this over here, and excuse that. So there we are. We're going to localhost, and we can see that there is a live node in this cluster. You can see the sizes, configuration, that kind of stuff. We can see, hey, there's a live node in this cluster. It's 118, that's my local machine. We can see nothing's really used. File system looks good. I can go browse the file system. There's only a temp folder at this stage. There's nothing really in there. It's an empty file system. Okay. We can also the job tracker, and the job tracker looks something like this. And we can see, hey, there's a job tracker, and we can see that there's one node in there. It's this localhost node, and it can do 2 tasks, that kind of stuff. Okay, so the next step then is to actually let's put some data into that thing. We're gonna go and again, we're looking in this data folder. We can see that dictionary file. Dictionary, so there it is. So now I'm gonna run bin/hadoop, and I'm gonna DFS, and I'm gonna put whatever is in data folder into the input folder, and we can see it works a little bit, and we can see it now replicate some stuff. So now let's have a look at this now. Going back to the health, we can see that there's a live node, but this time we can see there's a user, that's me, there's an input. Hey, there's a file in there. There's an actual file being used. So the file was loaded into the file system. Okay. The second thing we can look at is then if we look at the job, we can see, well, there's no jobs running at the moment. So now that the file's loaded and Hadoop's ready, I'm actually going to run that same command we ran earlier, and because Hadoop is now in server mode, I'm going to look for the same thing. Now this time when it runs, oops, sorry, not the data folder, sorry, the input folder, I'm going to now run it. I'm going to run the same command. This time I'm going to run it on the input folder because we copied the files in there. We can see it runs, and now for the first time we can start seeing actual jobs being run. So if we go back here, we can see that, hey, there's a job and it's busy running at the moment. We can see that mapping is 100% complete. It's busy in the reducing stage. We can get all sorts of information about what's going on with this specific job, where it is, copy, sort, reduce, all sorts of stuff, what this specific job is doing at the moment. And we can see that it's now complete. It's complete the reduce stage. It should be good to go. And there it is. The job is finished running. So it's exactly the same job as what we ran last time in standalone mode, but this time we ran it through the server mode. So now we're going to go look at Hadoop's, looking at the output of that, and exactly the same as running it in standalone mode. We get that there's 227 instances of secure, securest only 1 instance. So that's the basic way, that's the basic configuration of running Hadoop standalone and running Hadoop in a single server mode local